These are some samples of research problems. The first one, this is what I just told you. How do we get a research problem? From personal experience. This is my personal experience. Actually, I had watched a movie entitled Atonement, and this movie, I watched it in 2012, and I noticed some important points in the movie which attracted my attention. Then I went researching what is that story. So I found that it is an important novel for a writer. His name is Ian McEwan, an English British writer, and this novel seems to be a very well-known novel. And here is the problem. While watching the movie, I noticed that there is the narrator of the that is used in the movie is not being reliable, is telling lies in order to deceive the reader or to do some kind of a plans. Of course, this is according to the writer's instructions and writing. So I said the unreliable narrator, a technique he employs, the writer Ian McEwan, is an innovation first seen in the modern era in Y&C Booth's The Rhetoric of Fiction. This is a book in 1961. McEwan's employment of this technique is an issue needing further analysis. It has not been done before, something new. In Atonement, his character Bryony is still a child. Her narration is questioned, for she might not be truthful or honest. And then, as a result, it seems dubious to give the role of talking to character Bryony to narrate and cope with events, and so her telling is a question to a certain extent. So the problem in this abstract is, I found that the narrator is not truthful in her narration, and this is done deliberately according to the writer's narration. So why the writer wanted this to happen? This is this is answered throughout the research paper, but this is the problem of the research. The technique of the narration in the story is questionable, is not honest or truthful. This is one of the samples. You can download this paper. It's available on the internet. The other research paper is entitled Manifestations of Hysteria in Nawal Saadawi's Woman at Point Zero. I read one of the novels. Of course, this is part of my PhD dissertation. Hysteria is one of the main problems inhabiting the female characters. Well, according to my reading to the text, I found that this is reflected in the text and it has not been covered earlier. So, hysteria, women are hystericized in these texts because of many reasons. So many of those female characters, I said, suffer hysteric symptoms which manifest as consequence of sexual violations such as rape, molestation, female circumcision in patriarchal centered communities. So this is the problem of my research in this paper, and I tried to answer why Nawal Saadawi has represented these acts and images in her own heroine. So this is a real problem that the paper addresses, and tried to suggest some solutions for this problem in the research. You can also find this book online, this research paper. The other problem is the title of my thesis, Hysteria and Identity Formation in Selected Novels by Feiwald and Nawal Saadawi. The problem of this study, it's not a research paper, it is a whole study of 4 novels. I said the problem is, I argue that patriarchy, subjugation, sexual violation, and resulting psychological disturbance destroys no female subjectivity and help enacting hysteria intentionally or otherwise. So these 2 writers focus on problems on maladies, diseases of women. So hysteria surfaces on female characters' bodies, revealing the shortcomings and problems they suffer from. I concluded this based on my reading of the texts. So I found that there is something present in these texts, and there is a problem, and it has not been addressed by previous writers. So this constituted the problem of my research. So now, when we try to read a literary text, we try to understand some gap, to find out where is the gap in that literary text, not only in literature, also in linguistics. You might be, let's say, highlighting something like, well, I understand that people from this area pronounce the word, let's say, che, but they do not say je or je, and this is in terms of phonetics. Of course, Dr. Ammar can help you in this better. So, a variety of topics, problems, and gaps are present now, and you can feel them, but you just need to write down these gaps while you're reading. And now you have time to have a look at literary texts like plays, like novels or short stories, or even you can notice some kind of, because now people are more close to the internet and social media, you can notice what kind of linguistic phenomena are available in order to write down some gaps and try to address them in your research papers. So after this kind of vision about the problem statement, I'd like you to have a big a wider view of how to formulate, how to describe a research problem, and try your best in drafting something. For example, I know some of you are reading now something that is not related to college or the university. Some of you are reading novels, short stories, Arabic stories, other literary materials. So try to have some points about these materials you are reading, and try to show or reveal something that you conclude, well, there is a problem here and I want to talk about. This could be the focus of your research paper next year. This could be the plan, the problem of the paper you will write in the next year. And this is what I try to do with you in this course. We try to prepare ourselves in order to write research papers in the next year. So draft something and let's work on it and polish it in order to get it done in our next year. This is what we can do so far with research a problem. Thank